The issue of manga scanlation is one that has caused controversy between those who declare copyright issues and those undergoing the scanlation itself. Scanlation is the translation of text by fans, in this case predominantly from Japanese to English, and then distribution online. Is it ethical? What are the true motives? It is evident that globalization and the rapid developments in technology have allowed for this distribution. Lee's research paper looks into how this has allowed for scanlation and distribution of manga and the different views on the topic. Lee used literature reviews, an empirical study and assumed lithography, online ethnography. To elaborate, he examined manga news websites and related forums, analysis of scanlation groups' websites, texts, and email interviews. This is why the Montagues, the amateur scanlation producers, and the Capulets, the manga producers, have a division causing complications between Romeo and Juliette's love affair. Why are you arguing? Don't you realise the article raises questions on whether scanlation is a form of piracy due to the nature of file sharing without the permission of the original author or producer? In Ian Condry's 2004 article, Cultures of Music Piracy, an ethnographic comparison of the US and Japan, he picks upon the idea that the ethics within piracy and file sharing online may not be relevant to the act itself, but rather to what an individual does with that file afterwards. For example, whether these individuals are using scanlation to share their favourite manga with their English friends, which contributes to the manga community and the producers themselves as a form of advertising.
What's my eye? Towards the camera. Tushnet 2007 states payment and credit, copyright law and subcultural creativity that hybrid creative practices that mix originality with marketing and profit-seeking with volunteerism is likely to pose continuing legal results even as they persist and perhaps grow in practical importance. Fan fiction is not small scale. Hundreds of thousands of stories, read millions of times, make fan creations popular as some commercial genres. When we evaluate copyright as a system, we need to look at its effects on creators.
In this instance, it can be argued that it isn't necessarily breaching copyright, as scanlators place emphasis on the desire to share their favourite manga, seeking a wider audience, making manga more accessible. This emphasises the enthusiasm for sharing and how it looks new when one considers the common description of comic fan culture. Normally this is based on differentiation and alienation from newcomers or non-fans. This differs from the copyright issues in the music industry, as it is done to a greater extent and more often or not takes sales away from the artists who produce the sounds. The authors of manga seem to encourage scanlation, as it allows them to attain more coverage, and fans will buy the authentic manga regardless of whether or not they have seen the scanlations.
I banned my father Chilsa! You're late to the party.
120 English scanlation groups were randomly selected in Lee's research. The 120 groups most active were used in in-depth interviews. Lee interviewed 6 individuals working in the manga publishing industry in the UK, US and Japan. Despite good numbers involved in the research, the article doesn't appear to integrate the research conducted consistently throughout, using only small snippets of answers in order to reinforce views given. Lee could have possibly gone into Jenkins' theory of convergence cultures and hybridity in more depth in order to give his readers better knowledge of developments online, specifically with regards to scanlation.
Jenkins offers a more positive stance on prosumerism of fans. He explains fans have always been early adapters of new media technologies. Their fascination with fictional universes often inspires new forms of cultural production. They are the most active segments of the media audience, one that refuses to simply accept what they are given, but rather insists on the right to become full participants. He explains that this is not a recent development either. We can see that from the history of fan participation in scanlation of manga. What has shifted is the visibility of fan culture. Web 2.0 provides fans with an enormous stage for their work, filled with like-minded individuals, and provides the potential the best distribution channel possibly, with almost unlimited reach from the comfort of their own homes.
We must remember though, according to Jenkins, to draw a distinction between interactivity and participation. Participation is more open-ended and less under the control of media producers, whilst interactivity has technological constraints. It may have been interesting for Lee to examine more thoroughly the technologies that have facilitated these scanlations, and we must not forget that it is also these same technologies that are partly constraining them ethically and legally.
Scanlation provides manga fans a platform to develop their translation and editing software skills while producing something which they enjoy. For example, many forums such as mangaupdates.com advertises jobs as a scanner, raw provider, translator, editor, cleaner, typesetter, proofreader and quality checker. The skills with an individual gained from the process of scanlation was absent within the article, which may have been a significant aspect to consider when discussing the pros and cons of the topic.
Juliette. My name is Romeo. Romeo. Relating to this idea of those involved in scanlation, being productive or proactive, consumers relates to the term prosumers coined by Topper, as he refers to those as common consumers who are predicted to each become active to help personally improve or desire the goods or services of the marketplace. This transforms it and their roles as consumers. In this case, individuals who are involved in scanlation are contributing to the manga and anime community. Web 2.0 generally concerns the way the web is used. Without Web 2.0, such advancements in the sharing of material across the world with such ease would not have been possible, and Japanese animations such as manga wouldn't have been able to gain and keep hold of fans worldwide.
Oh, Juliette.
Oh, Romeo. Oh, Romeo, it's true! A rose by any other name would smell so sweet!
Juliette, Juliette, how I love thee, with your hair as yellow as gold and eyes as blue as sapphires. Oh, my love, the idea of Playbour would not have been possible without Web 2.0. Playbour, the merging of labour and play, is a term to describe the labour carried out in and around the computer and within the popular culture. It links in well with the context of research paper in which scanlation works to, for example, translating manga animations from Japanese to English and transmit them over the internet, allowing millions of viewers access to them. A form of Playbour is therefore created, and although usually voluntary, some cases like these request donations via PayPal to keep their non-profit organisation afloat.
Yes, my dear, it could be argued that without such developments, manga artists, such as those mentioned in the article, would not get as much recognition without fans initiating in scanlation or donjunshi. Manga artists are tolerant towards those amateur artists. Japan, where manga is centralised, is more concerned about domestic issues, whereas US and UK manga publishers claim it to be illegal. Lee mentions in the article that individuals involved with scanlation are motivated through volunteering and non-profit production due to fan culture, resulting in gift economy as an exchange of valuable goods and services are regularly given without any explicit agreements for immediate or future awards.
A theory relating well to this critical paper is that of the two-step flow theory, coined by Lazarsfeld and Katz, which best describes the way a message or idea is communicated from one person to another. in this case by word of mouth online. The two-step flow model is relied heavily upon by the scanlators of such manga animations, as something like this can't be legally advertised due to the simple fact that it's copyrighted material. Word of mouth and common knowledge are the main sources for how the website creators receive traffic to their sites. Bloomer and Katz's uses and gratification theory is further linked to this, suggesting that audiences choose to consume media text for their own personal reasons. Scanlation fills a gap in the market, as manga isn't published or licensed in countries outside of Japan until a later date. A time lag is formed. This is why Scanlation has a significant purpose, as Scanlation allows readers on the US and UK, for instance, to view a new manga faster, as opposed to waiting weeks, months or years. I now pronounce you man and wife. Romeo, you may kiss your bride.
I need donations for my Scanlation group.
But you're in breach of copyright laws, thy leaky shit. This isn't why we participate in Scanlation.
Because of my love for Juliette, let's be like brothers.
Why won't you fight him?
Because I love Juliette.
Then I will kill him, Romeo.
Drop into the rotten mouth of death.
Ah!
You killed him.
Oh, Juliette! My son Tybalt, he's dead, and Romeo has been exiled.
My brother and thy lover, mother.
Some Scanlation groups have asked for donations on their sites. This isn't tolerated by other groups who feel this goes against what they stand for. Because of this, an evident conflict has arisen, as those who oppose donations have banned others from taking any works from their site. This makes evident that the Scanlation industry is developing into a profitable trade, and therefore breaching copyrights. For instance, manga sales since 2005 have been at 23% of total published books of 2,195 yen, as reported by Jetro, and half of European comic sales. Big publishing houses have entered the manga business. Simon and Schuster, for example, have entered a distribution deal with Viz.
Toshiba and Manga Novel have also begun to launch sites for money. These sites allow readers not only to download Japanese mangas, but also to scanlate them and offer the scanlations for sale. The article exemplifies how Scanlation allows us to read Japanese anime and manga, which we would not have been able to do for free online without Scanlation. This is something which we may not have had interest in beforehand. However, we understand how piracy can have a massive impact on the media industry. For example, the issue with stores such as HMV and Blockbusters running out of business. Scanlation could have this effect on manga and anime business in Japan if it progresses at a substantial rate, encouraging a monetary gain. Now I will lie in thy deep sleep till my beloved comes.
Thy beauteous Juliette is dead. Lee's article misses out other aspects of Japanese media, which involves Scanlation, as anime, TV series and films also play a massive role in Scanlation. For example, Japanese anime series like Death Note and Ouran High School Host Club were translated into English through dubbing and the use of subtitles. Both of these series originated from mangas, which shows the huge impact that Scanlation can have on Japanese media as a whole. The article could have also perhaps gone into more research about the specifics of the copyright laws. Why should it be an exception? Lee could have strengthened the case a little better. As well as this, netography and ethnography could have been applied more efficiently and used to reinforce and strengthen the case. Lee could have gone to Japan and conducted his ethnographic research this way, through interviewing both large and amateur manga companies, as opposed to basing it solely online and predominantly through emails. Also, once most articles are licensed, research could be conducted into whether or not Scanlation will stop, and if the fan bases would stick to their word. Lee could have then developed the questions he leads off with the end of the article. I will join you now, my love. I cannot live without thee.
did you do this? Oh my love, we shall be together now, forever!